Hello and welcome to another episode of the Book Drop series. My name is Jensen Sass. Our guest today is my colleague and partner in crime, Ana Tanasoca. She's a postdoctoral research fellow here at the Centre for Deliberative Democracy and Global Governance. Today we're discussing her book, The Ethics of Multiple Citizenship. It was published this year by Cambridge University Press in the Contemporary Political Theory series, which is edited by Ian Shapiro. The book received the Max Crawford Prize, which is the most prestigious prize given by the Australian Academy of the Humanities each year. So Anna, welcome. First, could you describe the content of the book and really its main arguments for our viewers?
Okay, so the book is structured into parts, and the first part discusses the moral legitimacy of different grounds of acquisition of multiple citizenship, birthright, naturalization, and investment. The second part discusses the way in which multiple citizenship might have problematic consequences at both the domestic and global levels, the way in which it might undermine the legitimacy of collective decisions reached by majority rule and deliberation, and it might in fact accentuate global inequalities through the operation of double taxation agreements. So written in the mode of analytic political theory, the book actually develops a critique of multiple citizenship from a cosmopolitan perspective. I point out that allowing some individuals to accumulate citizenships may in fact amplify rather than solve the unfairness that's already created by the citizenship system. So each chapter develops its own argument for why multiple citizenship can be thought to be morally problematic. Importantly, all these problems of multiple citizenship have a common root, and they could all be solved by actually tweaking the way in which citizenship as a category operates in nowadays context. So citizenship is too blunt as an instrument for defining the demos and for allocating rights and duties in the 21st century. And we live in a world of flux, and I think citizenship is just cannot adapt to all these real world circumstances. Citizenship is a permanent status pretty much. It also comes attached with a bundle of very different rights and duties. And these rights and duties get to be allocated according to the same criteria, whereby I think it's morally reasonable that we would want to allocate each right and duty according to a separate criteria. Also, all these rights and duties get to be allocated once and for all, pretty much. So, obviously, ideally, we would want people's legal entitlements to actually track their moral entitlements, and their moral entitlements may change as their personal circumstances change. And I think multiple citizenship does actually a poor job in that respect, and there are better solutions out there. And for example, multiple citizenship is likely to cause both over-inclusiveness and under-inclusiveness with respect to the different normative principles which direct the allocation of different rights. However, by systematically unbundling citizenship and separately allocating these rights and duties, we can have a more flexible and targeted approach. And such a targeted approach would actually be more responsive to the different changes in personal circumstances that occur over the course of a lifetime, and which might actually affect the moral entitlements one has in different states.
So to summarize, instead of citizenship sort of being a binary between having citizenship and not having it, you basically look at the rights and duties that we usually associate with citizenship, and you seek to disaggregate them. You want to apply them flexibly, and they should be revisable over time in light of changing circumstances within the state or with regards to the subjects of those rights and duties. Yeah. Okay, so it's a very interesting perspective. So what was it that drew you to this book and this topic? What was the audience that you had in mind when you started out?
So first, I wanted to write a book on multiple citizenship because I noticed the absence of any systematic moral analysis on this topic. And most studies of multiple citizenship come from law and sociology. However, political theorists and political philosophers had little to say about it. Second, I noticed that in law and sociology, the general opinion about multiple citizenship was overly positive. And I thought that maybe a more in-depth analysis, ethical analysis of this phenomenon is needed before we make very strong ex cathedra pronouncements. For example, is multiple citizenship a cosmopolitan's dream or a cosmopolitan's compromise? So my aim in this book was actually to provide that sort of moral analysis, as well as integrate the topic within broader debates in normative political theory on global justice, for example, commodification, the boundary problem, or social choice theory.
Yeah, it strikes me that, I mean, you describe it as a book on multiple citizenship, but ultimately it sounds like it involves some pretty deep reflection on citizenship itself. So there's actually a deeper and broader set of issues that you're addressing.
That's right.
Would you consider that sort of the strong point of the argument, or how would you put the strong point of the core of the argument?
So I think, this is, I would say it's the first, sustained ethical analysis of multiple citizenship, and its arguments bridge to a multitude of very important debates in normative political theory. It's also written in a clear analytic style, which I hope will appeal to a wide range of readers. So I think those are pretty much, the advantages of this book.
Oh, great. And it's obviously a topic of great contemporary significance as states around the world are grappling with this. So, yeah, so I have an image of the cover here, which I'd like to share. Could you tell us a bit about the cover and how you selected this?
Yeah, so initially, first I was very keen to have a painting on the cover rather than a photo. And second, I wanted to have a painting that would evoke or symbolize somehow multiple citizenship. And that was a bit of a challenge. And initially, I had my eyes on Magritte's The Mysteries of the Horizon, which depicts three identical men in bowler hats. And that I thought that would be a playful visual take on the phrase multiple citizen. I didn't manage to get that one, but I was lucky enough to find this one that ended up on my cover, which is a self-portrait by Johannes Gump, a 17th century Austrian painter. And obviously, as you can see, maybe it depicts the painter painting his self-portrait by looking into the mirror, and the duplicate image of his face is, of course, an allegory for dual citizenship.
That's great. It's a very striking image.
It is a striking image.
Yeah.
I hope the arguments in the book are even more striking, because I do think that, to come back to the strong points of the book, I do think that I really try to develop innovative, even surprising arguments about this topic, and I really avoided well-known platitudes on this subject. So
well, the starting point's counterintuitive, which is that it's a cosmopolitan argument against multiple citizenship. So, well, great. Thank you very much, Ana, for chatting about your book, The Ethics of Multiple Citizenship. I look forward to reading this book and your next book. And thank you for watching us, and stay tuned for more updates on Twitter and various other media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Nicole, our camerawoman.